This is Joseph Coco. I'm at Space 2014. I'm interviewing on behalf of Becca Hilburn's art process blog, Now to Soup, Keep on Trucking. If you could introduce yourself, please.
I'm Drew Brockington, and I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota, originally.
All right, Drew, what brings you to Space this year?
Well, so last year was my first year of doing comics ever, like going to shows and stuff like that, and this year I was like, I'm going to try to double the amount of shows that I'm going to, so I'm trying to go to like 12 shows throughout the year, and
evenly spaced out, or you're kind of just crunch them in whenever you can?
Yeah, just kind of like if I have a free weekend and something's available. And this is one that I could actually, it's a long drive, but I can drive to, so that makes it like an instant go, I think.
Okay. So are you trying to make conventions like your bread and butter? Is this your plan to monetize comics?
No, I think like with comics, like you have to produce, and if you want to publish, if you want to submit stuff for publishing, you have to have it either 80% completed or in a place that you're ready to sell it. And what do you do in between now and then?
Yeah.
So in between now and then, I decided to take my work and shows.
Right, because fans aren't going to be nearly as critical as a publisher might be.
Yeah. So and in between, it's really fun, and I'm meeting, like, networking. And,
So is your goal more to network with your fans, or is it more to network with the publishers? I know editors attend conventions and they shop around a bit.
Yeah, I think like it's a little of both. It's to get my name out there, obviously, and then also just to just to meet other people in the industry and talk to. A lot of it is like talk to artists that are already established or something like that, and then just try to get their 2 cents on everything.
Yeah, and hopefully make some money in the process.
And my goal for every show is cover travel costs and break even basically. So,
right.
And I've been fortunate enough recently that I've been hitting my net zero. So, but no, it's been fun.
Sounds great. Can you tell me a little bit about your work?
So my work is I like to do a lot of bad jokes and puns, and just kind of put that on paper. And I think a lot of my drawings have that kind of fun feeling to them, and it starts, like, all my stories start around a joke, basically, or some kind of fun idea or something like that. So
right. And are you kind of testing these things out online first, or you're just going with your gut and just starting to make a comic, and if you feel it works, continue?
Yeah, some of that is like Tumblr is a huge asset. Like, I can put things on there, and then if people like it, and then, I kind of get an idea of, do I want to pursue this or not?
Yeah.
But also, like, I'm doing, like, that's why I do the mini comics, is to try out like types of stories,
sure.
See like what works and what doesn't work, and
there's not as much investment.
Yeah, and that one I can print at home versus like something full color. I'm gonna put a little more thought into, do I want to do something like that?
So are you seeing comics as kind of like a prototyping thing, where you introduce a comic in like a basic form on Tumblr, and then maybe you make a mini about it, and then you consider bringing it to a con, and then potentially show it to an editor? Is that kind of the basic idea?
Yeah. That's definitely like I mean, a big thing, I think.
I mean, obviously not everyone has that that particular process, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, is that what you're shooting towards?
I think it's something I stumbled across, and right now it's working.
Yeah.
And it's like this book. I love this story. It's like a rock and roll deal with the devil thing, but nobody really likes it. So
when you
now,
say nobody, you mean editors haven't latched onto it, or your fans haven't been as enthusiastic as you, though?
Like very rarely people pick it off the table, and it could be the title or something like that, or what's going on, but it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, and this is something that I would love to expand and make into like a full feature-length story, but now I'm like, I don't don't need to touch that. It was fun. It's done. I can move on to a new idea. So
yeah, and that's the great thing about doing conventions and about making mini comics is you get that instant feedback because, well, it's a little bit harder to get noticed on the internet, but at least with the table, your cover catches someone's eye and they come up and flip through it.
Yeah, and you can kind of gauge what's going to go when you like that. But so far, like the shows have been really fun, and just it's funny to see different places, like demographically, like people are into different things, and so I felt like last weekend at Mocha, like everyone had kind of like a higher art level,
technical ability was a little bit higher.
Yeah, and they were kind of gauging on that versus like bad jokes was like more at a lower end of things. So
well, it seems to have been changing over the years. I think the first year I went to Mocha Fest was a little bit more of the I guess I could say hipster sort of like
lots of antlers.
Just casual comics would be a good way of putting it. More zines and minis than there were perfect bound books and those sort of things. Certainly there's nothing wrong with either, but what have you found have been some of the differences between some of the small to medium shows like Space versus the larger shows like Mocha Fest or SPX or Apron?
The variety is actually greater in the smaller shows.
Okay.
Like
the variety of the artists or the variety of the people who are coming here?
Of both, I think.
Okay.
Like at this show, I did like a walk around before sitting down and stuff, and it was like there's some really cool stuff out there, and it's all homemade, and it's very like coming from such different backgrounds, I guess.
Yeah.
Like there's like really cool horror stuff. There's like some guy with like a whole like Woodstock theme. There's like your indie superheroes and everything like that. There's me. I have like funny weird stuff and kid stuff. So it's kind of like a big variety. But
people are just making comics about what they know. In mini comics.
And at Mocha, like I felt like there was this like kind of like unspoken style or trend or something. Like I noticed like there's a lot of the same color palettes, and people are into risograph and screen printing, so a lot of the same techniques are used.
Do you think that's the influence of SVA? I know SVA is pretty close to.
Yeah, I mean it could be. I know that there's a lot because that community is so big out there, and there's pretty much maybe like a handful of comic shops that everybody goes to in the whole city, at least like once a month or something like that. Sure. So like everybody's looking at the same stuff and going to the same parties and things like that.
They just all start producing the same things.
Yeah, I think that kind of stems from there. So so it's fun, and it's also like that's the place I think like just random people coming up to the booth will ask technical questions like, oh, what paper is this on, and stuff like that. And then like here or at the smaller show, like other artists are like you're swapping your stories about like, oh, where'd you get that printed and what's that on and stuff like that. But it's not so much like people from the crowd are finding you out and stuff like that. Just kind of asking. So it's fun.
Well, would you have any advice to anyone who's considering coming to Space for the first time?
Yeah, I think. Well, I know this is my first year here, so I'm learning
the show's just starting. So.
Yeah, and the show just started an hour or so ago. But like my advice in general is just to experiment with different stuff.
Yeah.
Minis are fun. You can make them at home, and then prints are a nice way to just to show more of your work. I think they look pretty on the table, and they're relatively inexpensive to produce.
You can certainly draw in a younger audience easier with a big print.
Yeah, right. Lots of big colors. So, but just experiment with your subjects and your medium, and I don't know. Mine also, if it makes me laugh, then hopefully it'll make somebody else laugh. So.
Definitely. So just be true to yourself and try the show.
Yeah, follow your heart.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope you have a good space.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Yeah.